Hey guys, welcome back to FireTech Talk. Today we're talking to Brian Scholl, Deputy Fire Marshal from Phoenix, Arizona. Brian, thanks so much for coming on and talking with us.
Thank you for inviting me.
Do fire inspectors actually visit every building to ensure that they're code compliant?
That's a really good question. If we had the manpower, we would love to see every single business, every single building in our cities. We just don't have the manpower. So we basically look at it as a risk. You know, what are the high hazards? If it's a high hazard like a hazmat facility or like an arena, we probably want to be there every year. But as you go lower in the risk, like let's say like an insurance agent's office, that's a really low risk. We may not get there for every 3 or 5 years. But remember, all the fire safety systems and life safety systems have to be serviced annually, so that kind of helps us in the in-between years.
Okay, so it's really a compliance ecosystem that includes those who are inspecting the equipment. So you have those records of inspection, so you can look at those, if you're not able to get to that building on an annual basis.
Right, and that's where the industry comes in. There are eyes and ears out there. And by code, they're required to send us all the deficiency reports on the buildings. So then we see those deficiency reports and then we can say, oh, this place is not compliant. I'm gonna send my inspector out there. Because although we want the industry to educate their customer, we're gonna be the ones that actually enforce it and say, you are required to fix this. And that's that partnership. But the partnership needs to start way before they go into a building. It should be a phone call to your local AHJ saying, hey, I'm Brian, I'm brand new to this market. I would like to meet with the fire marshal and discuss, understand what the code is, understand what are the risks in that area. Like for us, I'm in Arizona, very hot, very dry. That's a big deal for us. So we're very worried about if you're putting life safety systems on the outside of a building. Well, how does that affect because of the sun and the heat? So having that phone call, understanding I've talked to Brian, I know what Brian is looking for, I know where to send my reports, which is very important, and there's the trust there that I'm not gonna go to the customer and say, hey, because this report was sent in, you have to do this. I'm just gonna go there and be like, hey, we understand that this isn't working, you need to fix it. So it's requirement, which is nice because it's not you guys actually making them do stuff.
Oh, I love that. I like how you talked about eyes and ears and trust. What would you say to the service company professional out there who views, the fire marshal's office or the AHJ in an adversarial way, or vice versa? Can you comment on that and what we can do better at?
And obviously that's the reason I'm here. We need a partnership because we need to be in this together. We have the same goal. Either the goal is to finish the project, to make the repairs, whatever it is, we need to make sure that everybody's safe. And by creating that partnership, it makes everybody safe. And creating that partnership early is the key. Calling, knowing my number. The first time that you call me should not be the first time you need something. We should have talked a long time ago. In the city of Phoenix, we do what we call the coffee forum. We bring everybody in for a little bit of coffee and a little bit of sweets and talk about, hey, here's the new code, or these are the issues that we're running into, or what are you guys running into? And it should never be adversarial, like you said, because we're in it for the same reason, to keep these buildings safe, to keep the people safe. That's the key here.
That's great. I really like that proactive approach, building the relationship and taking that time up front. Brian, I know you're involved on various NFPA standards. Can you comment a little on the importance for those committees to be made up of people in all different roles in the fire safety kind of arena?
Yeah. So I'm on 2 different standards. I'm on NFPA 855, which is the batteries, which is obviously a big thing right now. And I'm also on NFPA 420, which is the grow and extraction of marijuana. And I try to tell everybody that NFPA does a really good job. They try to bring in industry, users, manufacturers, installers, public, as well as us. They call us enforcers, but it is what it is. But if there's only enforcers on those standards, we potentially are just going to over-enforce because we don't know. I need someone from industry to tell me, no, if you do this, it's going to hurt this. In 855, it's very technical with batteries. I don't know a lot about batteries to that, how to build it. Having someone there say, this is how a battery, this is how it goes with a thermal runaway. Now I understand how I can create a fire protection system to protect that. So if I don't have cooperation and buy-in and partnerships in all those standards, then it's just one-sided, and you never want that. I want someone on the other side saying, yeah, this is a great idea, or no, it's not a good idea, and let's talk about it. Let's have a conversation. I think we should have 150 feet between a battery and a public way. Well, the industry might say, yes, but we did test data, and the fire testing says that we only need to be 50 feet. Okay, that's a good conversation, but if they're not there, it's 150 feet. So I need participation from everybody in all these standards.
Yeah, get a lot of different perspectives and expertise involved in the discussion.
Exactly.
I'm going to turn the tables a little bit here. You're really you're deputy fire marshal. We've heard a service tech say it before. They found a deficiency. They tell the customer, hey, this needs to be corrected, and that customer says, well, the fire marshal was here recently and they didn't say anything about it. What would be your response to that situation?
So in that situation, we don't look at what you guys or the industry is looking at. You're doing an in-depth inspection, testing, and maintenance program. If I'm going out there, I'm looking at your reports. So if the customer says, hey, Brian was out here and he didn't say anything about it, well, we don't do that type of testing. That's what the industry's for. And that's what we need you guys to do, and that partnership, that trust. So I trust you guys doing a very good job, very thorough inspection, very thorough documentation saying, hey, this place is not in compliance and this is why. And then I can go to the customer and do the education part and say, this needs to be fixed and this is why. We're putting people at risk. So it should never be where the customer says that, but if we have that partnership and the relationship, then you can call me and say, Brian, I was just at this place and this customer said that you didn't say anything about this, and we talk about it.
So Brian, regarding the inspection records and their importance, things have changed since you first started, as an AHJ to where they are now. From, it used to be papers and file cabinets to now utilizing different technology and software that's out there. Can you comment on that transition and just comment a little bit about implementing that type of software and how it benefits the service company, the AHJ, and ultimately the customer and life safety?
Yeah, that's a good one. So when I first started, we would get boxes and boxes of inspection reports. And it was very labor intensive to go through each of these reports one by one, looking for deficiencies. Now with this new technology, the companies can just upload all the reports, and most of the software will actually categorize it for us, saying this is good, they're compliant, or this is not compliant, and will actually help us. A lot of the software out there will actually send an email to the customer saying, hey, it is now time for you to do your annual inspection. So it's really helpful for us, so then we don't have to be the ones that are always saying, hey, you need to do this. And with the customers, when they upload it, it's very simple. Once they start doing it, it's like anything brand new, right? It's tough to get going, but once you start working with it, first time I got an iPhone, it was tough. I'm like, and then the home button went away. When the home button went away, I was like, how do I use the iPhone? But you start to get used to it, and that's how it is now. They upload it easily. My inspectors can easily go to them and say, okay, this place is my high priority. This fire system's not working. I need to go out there right now, potentially put them on fire watch. So it's easier for us to get the information that we need, and that's the key. Back in the day, it was so labor intensive. Now, upload, we get an alert, it's automatic. I send an inspector out that day. That's how quick it is. It's very, very beneficial to us, as well as to the industry and the customers and the occupants that are in these buildings.
Yeah, I think the benefit, is clear when it comes to the AHJ, and I think it's also clear when it comes to the customer. What would you say to that service company who feels like, these things are being mandated to use the software, or maybe they don't feel like they had a voice in the rollout of that and are struggling with, something else as part of the process?
Yeah, and that's where those partnerships come in. So hopefully that AHJ, like we did in Phoenix, we reached out to the industry and said, hey, this is what we're gonna do and this is why. And what do you think? What are your thoughts? And then we did a pilot program. Hey, this is what it is. Let's get out the bugs, let's get out the kinks, and have industry get that buy-in. Because once we get the buy-in from industry and the end customer, then it's a flawless system. It's great. We get the reports we need, and that's the important thing.
Well, Brian, we're out of time. Please be sure to tune in to part 2 of this conversation with Brian Scholl, Deputy Fire Marshal from Phoenix.